Hey everybody, you're listening to the Wombo podcast. I'm Chip. Monk with me as always is the Mr. Gimpy.
What's going on, Chip?
It's a very special episode of the Wombo podcast. This is the 90s style. Mr.
Right.
Gimpy tried crack, cocaine.
This is like Blossom, right, for sure. Honestly,
someone's been cheating on their homework.
Crack cocaine sounds like the plan right now after the
Dang,
week.
Dude, it's never the plan, bro. Things have gone terribly wrong.
Oh man. So I think everyone knows why it's so special. But
no, they don't, bro.
We did it. We did it. Game Jam complete. Gdevelop Big Jam 6 in the bag, dude.
We did it, dude.
We did it.
I was there.
I was there. That's what we're gonna remember this as. I was there.
Yeah, you carried the team, dude, on your back.
You know what, man? Like we said before we started the jam, everyone's gonna have a different schedule. Yeah. So I just was able to work on it the most. You guys came in clutch for sure. Like, I look at it like this. Like, sure, I had like the midway here, like the brunt, but the burnout really did happen for me Friday night and then yesterday. Because I've been because each time, everyone's working, when I was stuck on something or whatever, like I posted on our Discord and whatnot, I posted the GitHub just notes and what I'm working on. But even with that, you're working in a vacuum and there's a time constraint on the back. I just was like ready to say, screw it. We're done. Yeah. Not going to do this. But, I say that, but also in my own mind, and you saw this firsthand when we were initially brainstorming the Game Jam ideas. Even though I want to quit, I still persevere through.
Man, ain't got no quit on them.
I try not to.
I don't know.
Man.
I feel like we should have switched the engines early on. It felt like it's not ready for like prime time online multiplayer.
Let's go.
Dude.
Let's for sure go into that. So we chose the Gdevelop Jam because it was. I thought it was the most interesting jam out right now, and it was something new to learn. And obviously Gdevelop just kind of flexed and said multiplayer's easy. It's just click a drag and drop, click a button. Could not be further from the truth. Initially, our first idea that scoped was impossible. Well, to
our knowledge, dude.
Knowledge, with never using Gdevelop before and finding and how we would do it in other engines, was not possible.
We tried.
Our initial thought for the jam was because the theme is repair or fix it.
We're thinking like multi-rooms. Everyone's like running around doing different things, fixing either like a ship or a boat type of situation or a station.
Yep. And multiple rooms, multiple like instances of players going into different rooms. Yeah. The way that found out how to do it is to make a giant layout and teleport the player to different areas of the layout to keep it going. But we wanted so many different things. We wanted to just in the
different
idea,
game objects and stuff.
Yeah, different game objects. Different
sheets would be untenable.
The sprite sheet would have been insane. So we scrapped that.
Use like a scripting sheet where you like get drop downs on like everything that's possible, like behaviors, scenes, and variables and all this other stuff. Is like you like trigger different events through like this like tables. It's okay. I think they could do a better job even with that, but and then you can like right click a thing and be like, oh, this is its own separate sheet, so it'll just call that function, but you don't see like all the logic, but you can like double click and open up like a new sheet. But we would have gotten into like a rat's nest of like chicanery and tomfoolery doing that, dude. It would have gotten beefy and ran like garbage.
The other thing too is Chip's really big into 3D, so the initial thought of the Game Jam is, do we do 3D or 2D, right? So then we scoped down to 2D because for me to produce a 3D asset would take much longer than for Chip to produce a 3D asset, and Chip did not have the time to iterate. So we chose 2D, and the idea we went with, the game is called Kaiju Rescue Squad. Or shit, it could be Repaired Squad. I iterated it twice, like right before I went to bed, so I can't remember what I named it, but it's something one of those two. And actually, I could click right here. Let's just do that. Try for the best. Repair Squad. Kaiju Repair Squad. Yeah. Oops.
Yeah, it's where like you and like 4 teammates are kind of running around and rebuilding this monster that like fell. Like you're with him. You're on that team. You're on Kaiju.
Yep. So you're protecting a Kaiju. He can,
as it gets bigger and stronger,
he can be destroyed. And the initial idea was to have limbs get thrown away from the enemy attacking the Kaiju, and then a player has to pick up a limb and reattach it. We had this really cool sticker system that was being worked on at first, but just the scope was too much for the time frame.
It wasn't working with multiplayer,
and it wasn't working with multiplayer. Yeah,
let's just preface everything by like we had like whatever idea we threw out, we had it working, and as soon as we tried to like add multiplayer to it, it like fell apart. So we ended up having to do things like 3 or 4 times. Over and over again. I'm like, all right, this works. All right, we built this out. We built this system. And then we're like, all right, let's get it working in multiplayer. And sometimes it'd work locally. And then like, we'd be like, all right, let's all test it. And then it'd break there. So it'd be like, all right, why is it breaking here? And it seemed like no reason. Like, it was like, why is this working like on, single player without multiplayer? Why is it working when I do this? Why is it working when I'm in a lobby by myself, but not with other? Sometimes like even like simulated like control presses would be like triggered from like other like players, but not like the main player and stuff. Like it was a mess.
Yep. Give me 1 second. Let me pause here. My kid's in the room. Sorry for the interruption, but yeah, go ahead. So multiplayer broke everything every time.
Yeah. So it's basically like we had to make things like 3 or 4 times over and over again, like coding. I don't know, I only did the art once, so I was pretty. What went well for me is like I got a lot of art done. What I could have done better was have more of a plan. I think if I had done like some mock-ups of like just like what the levels would look like, and then like reverse engineer from there, I think it would have got a lot more done faster. But I kind of like being in there suffering with the boys and being like, all right, what do I gotta do? Just add like a little bit of pressure, like a little bit more grease to that fire, dude. I'd be like, all right, I'm back. What do we need? I got this thing done. All right, what's the next thing? And, it's kind of an asshole move too. Like, cause like, I don't know, I could probably work independently and stuff, but like also, it's a collaborative effort as well. And then like, I can show everyone like, ideas that I'm thinking about. And then they'll be like, oh, change this or do this, or like, mess up with the colors a little bit, change this up. Get some sound effects with this, and I could be like, all right, well, how about this? And it's really nice to have like that back and forth. I feel like the things become better when you do that. But that being said, like having a plan is always probably king, right? Especially like if we're working on anything like longer than like a few days or a week. You probably want like more of a unified vision. But we would have had that time from the jump to like do more planning.
True.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that also went really well. I felt like really good about like all of our planning sessions, all of our throwing ideas. The prototyping phases went like really well, except for fighting with the code. But like as far as like ideation and creating things, man, it was fun.
It was fun. It was fun.
What went well with you, man? What do you think could have gone better?
I think the initial setup went well. The initial meetings that we had, like when we all got together and were saying, okay, the scope's too much, or like you and I were both, even if we were so excited about something, we were like, okay, do this. We were both quick to like bring up scope and is there time for this? Like I got super excited about something and you were like, dude, there's no time for that. It's a jam. I'm like, right. And then you got excited for them, like, it's a jam, bro. We can't do this.
Yeah, and then like, right. A whole other screen and like all this stuff. And it's like, man, I'm not making this look good. It might take some time. You're like, bro, it's a jam. It's fine. Just it's done.
So so that I think that went well. What also went well was after GitHub was set up. And after we overwrote each other's files a couple of times, but after that, the whole process was very smooth. Like I was confident working on stuff, pushing it, going to sleep, then or you adding assets, pushing stuff. It worked well.
It's the future, dude. It's pretty cool.
I think a lot of our issues, well, at least mine. So most of the programming at that point was probably me now, right? Like
Yeah,
I think if it wasn't for Professor to make him, so at the beginning Professor made his own multiplayer engine to get it to
yeah,
work because we could not get objects to sync. So he
no,
just did it. He just pushed everything manually, and then I was going through the Gdevelop tutorials and how multiplayer objects work and how syncing's supposed to work. So then it finally clicked. So the first night, Professor had multiplayer working, but it was laggy as hell.
yeah,
So that next day, I scrapped everything. I scrapped our main
dang,
game. I did everything and recoded everything with how Gdevelop wants you to do it. And then syncing was working. Remember, it wasn't laggy anymore.
yeah.
um,
So it
so
was good.
so yeah, I think we scrapped the entire game 3 times.
Yeah, probably 4 or 5, but yeah,
Yeah,
three for
yeah,
sure. It depends. Like again, like there was like every little iteration too. We ended up having to like redo multiple times just because we're fighting the engine. Not even
yeah,
like our
yeah.
work wasn't bad. It was just like not specifically how G Develop wanted things to be done.
Yeah, and my thing was, especially like when we are going like over polished stuff on the first day, and
Yeah,
you guys were like, let's just do this, and I'm like, I can't do that. And you're like, come on, bro. And I was like, I think I had to put my foot down on certain things. I was just like, we have to have this.
yeah,
And then there were moments where we were all frustrated, and we just had like, well, the first time we got the players moving. And we were all synced up.
yeah.
You're like, ship it, fuck this, ship it.
Yeah, it is a game, dude.
It's a
Done.
game now. We can move. When I got bullets working and synced for both players, ship it. You know, it was just the
Yeah,
point. It was just a lot of frustration, and I think a lot of the
yeah.
frustration. I mean, we were talking crap about the engine like the entire time, and even now there's some animosity towards it from I think both of us.
From
But
everyone, dude. I think like everyone's like just like never again for
to
G
be
Develop.
objective, I think a lot of it is because unfamiliarity.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
don't know. Like I said, I've
I
used
come
a G
yeah,
Develop
you
before.
you've
It's
completed a game in it before, so
yeah,
but you've never done multiplayer. So
yeah. I think the multiplayer is a horrible plan. Like it's just not ready for prime time. I know we said it at the rip. Uh, or if they want it to be, they need like way better documentation and like
yeah,
be way more specific. Like they need to go into like more like show like 4 or 5 different types of games made with it and how they do it. You know, instead they
yeah,
have like very abstract, like oh maybe this might work, and then you try it that way and it doesn't work that way. Like I don't know. It took me like 3 or 4 days just like playing around on my own to get like coins to be picked up. Like
yeah,
like a
yeah,
little prototype I made before the jam. Like I was like, oh, let me get in here and start trying to figure things out. So like even just like picking up and like syncing like coins took like 3 or 4 days, and then like at the end of it they like dropped a tutorial like showing like, oh, this is how we want you to do it. And it's like, all right, yeah,
yeah,
everything's just like a little bit more convoluted and drawn out than it needs to be.
yeah.
Uh,
It's the event. So let's go over frustrations with it. So I come from the very first games I've made.
the land down under.
Well, completed previous jams. We're using Construct 2. Construct 2 and Gdevelop are very similar.
Yeah,
And they use an event sheet. They have a layout scene. They have asset importing. They handle most things pretty similarly. So when I looked at it, I was like, oh, this is basically Construct 2. And it's probably hubris for me or whatever, but the way that you add certain things, like that it's not intuitive, I'd say, like to add an or condition, to add a for
yeah.
each condition,
Trigger once.
a trigger once. Like some you had to right
Comments.
click comments, event groups. Some you had to right click and then on the sheet
It's like a secret menu
and
in a
add
very
there.
specific area.
Others that you would think would right click were in a conditional list. So
Yeah,
there didn't seem to be a rhyme or reason why anything was there. And I get that that's familiarity with the engine, but also I feel user friendliness wasn't there,
yeah,
at least for me. And like I said, I come from Construct, now Game Maker, as we've talked on the pod for a little bit. I've done like tutorials on Unity and did like a quick little demo of a 3D game and a 2D game. So I'm pretty familiar with that as well. I'd say that Gdevelop's handling of just their overall game it just wasn't intuitive for me, and maybe it's different for people who that's all they know. I see it's very successful. There's a bunch of games with it,
yeah,
but I think at least for me, the how the event sheet's handled and how you can sort it. It gets so long and so convoluted that it's hard to read. Like the last day, dude, if you saw the event sheet, I just added stuff at the end.
Yeah.
Just because I couldn't fit it where it was supposed to go because it started being tied to other things, and it just was a nightmare to look at.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing, I could not get parallax working properly because so the Gdevelop has behaviors that are really nice, admittedly, but they don't tie into the event sheet as you would think or as I would think. So I had trouble with the the different layer cameras for background, foreground, midground, and game screen to get it to move up and to scroll properly for my parallax layer. So I just got it to a good enough point and just had to say I'm done with this. I couldn't get it to work how I wanted. That is aching at me. The only thing that's aching that just is at me is we didn't have time to animate like a walk cycle or the kaiju to like attack the buildings.
Attacking.
I didn't get a chance to have certain sound effects in the game because I kept adding different gun sounds. And Chip, that's one of the reasons why I stayed up so late last night is I was adding gun sounds.
Guns.
But even though the game is short,
it's harder than
super
that.
annoying. It was super annoying to hear, you know?
Oh, yeah, dude. I told you before you're like, oh, we need gun sounds. It's like, bro, it's going to be annoying as hell. And you're like, nah.
So
like,
I took that out.
It does feel like it's missing something, though. Like when I was just playing it, which is like the background music that's just looping.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I forgot. We have explosion animations, but I forgot to add the explosion sound. But it's done now.
It's done. You'd be free of it.
I would like scene transitions to have a fade out and a pause, but I could not get it to work. I was fighting the engine. There's no wait condition. Well, there's a scene wait condition, but there's no. At least maybe I was looking at it too long. There's no way for me to figure out how to call upon that and to fade the entire scene.
I think you can make like a timer or something, and like the way timers even work is weird. It needs to be tied to an object, and it's not great.
So I think at least for us, choosing the multiplayer jam was a double-edged sword because I wanted a challenge, but I guess I didn't think of learning a new engine and learning multiplayer were in that engine how they want you to do it, because I've done we've spoken on the pod, I did multiplayer in Game Maker, so I know how that wants it to be done. Chip's done multiplayer in Unity, he knows how that wants to be done. So new engine, new multiplayer behavior, we have to figure everything out, and we had 9 days to do it. It was tough. How about positive takeaways? I think we saw that I think I already knew this, but we all worked it together as a team really well.
Yeah, we finished the game.
We finished the game together.
A
lot of the game jams we've done in the past, like we finished the key famously,
Yeah.
We finished, and but now it's another one that we finished, and it's been 5-6 years at least for all three of us combined.
It looks good. So that's a plus.
Yeah, that's on you. That's on you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not if it's not moving around and doing stuff, dude.
Yeah, it's a full game. We got 4 players synced. That being said, that's the final thing on my bucket list.
Never again on Gdevelop, dude.
For the year of 2024. I did everything I wanted.
Yeah, dude.
I think Gdevelop, if you want to make a game, and you could persevere, Gdevelop's a fine tool to free things. The multiplayer, actually, looking at it, I learned how they wanted to do multiplayer in 9 days. When I did it in Game Maker, it took about a month to get it right.
Sure. I scratched the surface in Unity in about 3 weeks, and then after that, I was like, "Oh, it's going to take me 2 to 3," because I started looking up like other things and like reading the discussion boards of people who do multiplayer only, and they're like, "Yeah, it's going to take you like 2-3 years to get really good with using it." So I was like, all right, I'm not going to invest that kind of time into it. I don't really have any big like multiplayer game I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
So hard. Multiplayer is hard. Syncing
multiplayer is very hard. But I think, it's in the moment I'm frustrated, but when you back up, made a multiplayer game in a new engine, learned a new way of doing it in 9 days.
Yeah.
That's hats off
The
to
boys
Gdevelop
got
for that,
together.
man. I gotta say,
We finished the thing.
yeah,
Dang.
yeah.
I'm excited. I'm coming off hot for the next one. You're done, dude. You're like,
Oh, dude, I
was
need
like,
a couple
oh,
months break, bro. Probably like a
it's like,
6 month break.
it's like, oh, we gotta start something else, guys. Let's get it.
I'm gonna like slowly work on my own like the game making projects I've been talking about, but I'm taking a break from just game dev in general for the next until 2025, bro. Or no, actually until December at least. I gotta take a break.
I've been playing around still in like little JS, trying to get things up and running in there, and I've been spending like 2 weeks just programming and figuring this engine out, and it's okay. I don't know. Like I like that the minimalistic is just kind of like a framework. It's not like a real engine. I also like building tools more than I probably like making games as well. So it's been interesting to play with that because it's like all JavaScript, and then I'm trying to like put it like in an iframe and then like lay over like React components that control aspects of the game, so you can like see your changes in real time. It's I don't know. It's just fun. It's different. It's keeping me busy. It also is good, like maybe fake work as well. It feels like I'm doing something, but I'm not actually doing anything, you know? So it's been pretty fulfilling, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Are there any things that you were surprised about during the jam from any of us?
I was surprised you didn't want to just switch engines to something else like day one. As soon as me and the professor were like, hey man, we've been playing around with this shit for like 4 hours before you even got here. It's kind of a shit show. You're like, nah, we're sticking with it. And I'm like, but we could easily, like, we could just make a game. It doesn't have to be in this engine. It doesn't have to be multiplayer. We could just make any game we want into something that we're all like going to be able to like crush. And you're like, fuck that. So I was surprised about that. I was like, damn, dude, that's ridiculous. I don't know. It felt just pure hubris, dude. So yeah,
it was because I didn't want to be beat by the engine or by like a lack
dang,
of
dude. Now look
knowledge.
at you, dude. You got your ass cheeks clapped by that engine, dude. Now you're like, I can't even look at game for like another year, dude. I'm like, god damn.
Well, because to cement, like we talked. I thought about like the podcast is double-edged sword, right? We talked a lot of shit. Saying we were going to do a game jam. We said we were going to do this game jam. This game jam's requirement was to submit a game we made with Gdevelop. You know, so
I think there's wisdom in seeing the layout of a game engine and the scope of your project and the things you want to accomplish and everybody on your team's strengths, and just playing to that. Be like, all right, let's just shift gears and we're all going to play to our strengths and we're going to make something great.
Yeah.
You know, and we made something okay to good instead of great, and that's fine. Yeah. But like, but it cost us everything, dude. It was like Thanos, Daryl. It's like, what's this gonna cost? Like everything, like, sleepless nights.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. After the pod and after I submit, dude, I'm going back to bed. Honestly.
Yeah, there you go, man.
I think this is the first time in like my adult life, because I've been friends with you guys for years, right? But we've never worked together on like anything like that could be considered like professional, you know, or like a like adult level. Like professor, him and I went to school together, so we did projects together. But it's been years since that, so I got to see where he is programmatically, and to see him just like knock stuff out in Java and just make his own multiplayer engine really quick was amazing. You know, you and I talk in the pod all the time, so I see your the stuff you make, and I see it all the time. But to sit in a room with you and watch you just pump out these assets, or when we were doing the prototyping phase, you had like a viable product to meet like in minutes. You know, so
dude.
It was.
I mean, that's you've seen me like. Even like I don't post a lot of stuff. I don't do social. I mostly just post in Discord to you and sometimes the professor of like, here's like a quick gif of like what I've been just prototyping, and like I've been trying to do like smaller prototypes like every couple of days, every week, just to like try and find fun, try and find like minimum viable products. And again, a lot of it's to build up tooling for things. And I don't know. I think it's a skill set. I think like creativity is a skill set. Like, you know, you can get better at these things. It does take practice. It does take like working on it and, you know, just writing down ideas and stuff when they come to you as well.
Yeah.
Was there anything that surprised you about all this? Is just everyone coming together?
it was nice to see where everyone's at in
the
terms
skill
of
level, dude?
the skill level of everyone was nice to see.
Yeah, we're on another level now, dude.
Yeah. What surprised me, and it was about myself, just kind of looking back and thinking about the week. I think I took on the project manager role, and I think no one like really said anything. I just started doing it.
Yeah.
I didn't. That kind of surprised me. I thought a lot of it was going to be more collaborative, but I guess like in action,
dude, collaboratives for communists.
yeah,
Dude.
yeah.
We
I
don't
think
need
in
that.
action, I think mainly,
This is
I think
America,
it's
Jack.
probably because I like the initial idea that we went with was probably something I made, right?
Yeah.
Like I thought of. So whenever like we're going off, I kind of like I feel like I set the scope and I kind of like started assigning people what to do. I'm like, I'm doing this, you want to do this, and I just kind of gave.
It was basically like whoever really wanted to finish this the most, and like me and the professor again after like the first like 7-8 hours of like day one, we're like, man, I'm kind of done with this, man. And then like you're like, nah, we're finishing. We're like, all right, yeah, but just tell us what to do. We'll fucking do it, dude. Like we're already like browbeat before you even got there by like the engine, dude. Like we're just already like being like, damn. But there was like I think day 2, there was a moment where we're all just firing on all cylinders, and we're all just sitting there in quiet, just like clacking away at our keyboards, dude. And then like every couple of hours, we'd be like, all right, let's run it and test it and like see what everyone's got. And then we'd like, the game was like evolving by leaps and bounds. Like every time, like every few hours, we're like, dang, all right, that was the best feeling. I think, like you said, it was like surprising, like how much better everyone got the level, and then like just seeing like how quickly we were able to prototype something, just sitting down in one day, like, and just really cracking away at it, dude. Like, I don't know, there was something about that. We all just had our music on. We're in the zone, dude. It felt like we're in the Matrix, bro.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what it is about game dev, dude, but for me, I was like just playing Kid Cudi like the whole time. No, every game jam I've ever done, everything I've ever completed, it's been a Kid Cudi like backed thing. So nice. Whenever I release a full project that's like for sale, I got to thank him.
There you go, man. Shout out to Cudi, dude.
For sure. But yeah, man, it's in the bag, dude. We're still friends afterwards.
Yeah, hopefully I haven't seen the professor in days, dude. Ghost, dude.
But Professor, I think, gave us 3 days of his time. The title screen was his final gift to us. If you beat the game, the theme song that plays at the end was Professor's gift to us. Kaiju design, that was you, because I remember just saying, okay, this is the game. And then like in 20 minutes you had like a kaiju idea, and our initial idea of having it just amorphous and the player could build it as it comes was so cool. But at the end of the day, I just had to make it to where it was recognizable, just so I could like set the sprites up, so
and like the drag features weren't working as well, like on multiplayer. Again, in multiplayer, like solo is like fine, but as soon as we hit up multiplayer, it was like, all right, this is all issues, it's all problems now.
Yeah, exactly. So end of the day, will I use Gdevelop again? Not for a bit, but I think talking right now, we made a multiplayer game in 9 days, so shout to that. Like I said, Game Maker's my current engine of choice. I'm going to go back to it, but Gdevelop, you guys have a hell of a product right now. I
need some like more user features, like more usability, more
my
fundamental
big gripe was looking at the documentation. It was AI generated, so I didn't have or there were video tutorials using specific examples, so I had to work around it, but I didn't feel like they helped much. So that's my only thing, is if they could, I know it's probably like a 4, like they don't have it, but if they could have just someone who wrote the behaviors to write just how to use it instead of AI generating it, it would do so much better. That was one of my big issues. Now that I think about it, is every time you looked at for how something worked, there's very little on multiplayer, and there was what there was, it was AI generated, so that was tough.
And then like the videos were very sparse, very late. There was also like no support from them this whole jam. So they, like, when you could check their Discord, it was just like a bunch of people asking questions in the forums. everyone was in there just asking questions. Like nobody was there to be like, oh yeah, this is how you do this. This is how you would do that.
I started answering some questions on the Discord too, just to give to community. Because in Construct 2, Sir Solace, when we were working on things, he would answer on the Skira forums for how people are doing it, and he posted examples. He was my example. Why I started doing that in Gdevelop when you were like, man, F this, right? He, when we did jams, did put his best foot forward, and it was a good community building exercise, and just everyone's in it together, right? So I decided to do the same thing regardless of feedback or not. But yeah, we did it.
Yeah, I don't know. And I will also say like Unreal has the same problem with their documentation because they're using like nodes, and then they just show images. Like there's just like a JPEG of a node. I'm like, how do I do this like simple thing? I want to like do like an event that like triggers a thing when I enter a trigger box, and it's like here's a node example, and it's like, all right, so now I need like another monitor set up, and like you're hoping that's like a good size image so you can like zoom in, enhance, and like what events are they using? Same thing with like Gdevelop, where they have like a lot of images of like their event sheets, and I'm like, bro, I don't know what Unreal's excuse is because it's like $1 billion corporation, but they just changed up like their whole marketplace and it's garbage. So they obviously don't know what they're doing. They're just making all this Fortnite money, so they really don't give a shit anymore. But it seems like they would be able to create like a node-based system online that's searchable and like usable where you can post examples. Same with Gdevelop, where it's like it doesn't make sense that you can't have like code snippets that we can just like copy paste and like I don't know. Like I built up like a quick lightweight version of something like that, and I like posted that to their forums, and I was like, hey, if you guys consider making something like this, and then they're like, I don't know. So it's out there. I put that was my contribution to the community. I was like, here's how I would redo the documentation, instead of using JPEGs like this, because then it helps for search, it helps for like readability, it helps for like reusability. I don't know. It's just it's tough, man. It's tough whenever you're doing like node or visual or table-based scripting stuff instead of just code, because like every other thing you can just do like a code block or a code snippet and just copy pasta it when needed.
Yeah. Oh man. All right, dude. So jam complete. I'm gonna go to bed. Well, I gotta submit it. Link to play the game is in the description. It'll be on the podcast, and
we out.
Hope you guys like it. Have a good one. Like, share, subscribe. We out. We're also on Twitter now, or X. So at Combo Wombo Pod.
What the heck?
Follow us. Later.
Later, dude.